Yo, welcome back to the channel. My name is LionHeartZ, and today we have another episode of Solo Queue VOD review. But wait a minute, Wee Woo special edition incoming. Today it is not me on the chopping block. We are reviewing the VOD of a good friend of mine who is just getting into Counter-Strike seriously for the first time, as well as transitioning from controller to mouse and keyboard. And that is my good friend, local Giga Chad, anywhere between 5'9" and 6'6" on a good day. And that is DeeCee. Things you gotta know about DeeCee going into this video. Just like me, he used to main Destiny 2, so you know for sure we're both mentally ill. Also, he was primarily a god on the sticks, not much on the mouse and keyboard, and outside of a few people you see on TikTok occasionally, Counter-Strike is not exactly a controller-friendly environment. DeeCee has made the switch, going into mouse and keyboard, learning how to play Counter-Strike at the same time, which leads to a lot of interesting things to talk about. Obviously, Counter-Strike is one of the most richly complex games that we have. It's so much more than just learning mechanical aim or learning how to use the weapons, and that makes approaching getting better at the game this incredibly complicated but also super rewarding pursuit. So today we're going to look at some rounds from two games, one where DeeCee does okay, and one where he actually top frags and does really well. If that sounds interesting to you, make sure you guys take a second, leave a like, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We've been doing really well on pushing the subs, so continue to get those numbers up as we establish ourselves in the Counter-Strike content space. And make sure you guys take a second and follow me on Twitch. I stream Counter-Strike almost every night of the week at 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Come hang out. We're making the transition to Face It right now, which has been very interesting and worth its own video in the near future. So come along for the ride. Links in the description, and let's get into the VOD review. Jumping straight into our first round, we're going to notice right away the first issue. It's obvious. I see it. You see it. DeeCee is full bot. AK. Armor. 6k in the bank. Great. However, he has bought 0 grenades. Now, DeeCee was pretty honest with me, pretty upfront. He's like, listen, man, grenades scare me in this game. I don't know how to use them. I don't know lineups yet. So I've just been staying away from them, and I've just been trying to rifle it out. And honestly, that's a respectable endeavor, because throwing bad smokes can be more detrimental than not knowing smokes at all. However, there are ways to be practical and effective with all of the other nades without learning any complicated lineups. Because believe it or not, nades are a lot more simple than you may think they are. You don't need precise pixel lineups from spawn with all of your fancy jump binds and YouTube videos. All those are great. However, you don't have to overcomplicate this. And we're going to get into that in just a second. Let's go ahead and hit play and let the round play out. DeeCee is going to work his way towards the A site, and he's pretty much going to run straight in there and try and entry frag his way onto the site. Solo, like a boss, going for the 2-man A push. Looks like they're trying to operate here on like a mid-A split. DeeCee gets out to Tetris. Very suspicious smoke there. In fact, let's back that up a second. Listen, I think even if you haven't played much Counter-Strike before, you don't really know much about default utility, you walk out Tetris here, and you see this smoke, you have to assume that there's CT on site. This is clearly thrown by them. We can see on the X-ray guy is sitting default. And again, this is where nades could come in handy. DeeCee could be mollying default. He could be flashing. Could be nading it. Doesn't even matter though, because DeeCee gets the great flick. The guy whiffs the shot. DeeCee gets the kill. And yet that side's secure. But once again, DeeCee could just be right-clicking a smoke into CT here to make the plant easier. He's going to swing out connector. He's going to get a nice pick there. But once again, could be throwing a Molotov, a flash, anything. Is unable to get the second one, goes down, leaves his teammates in a 2v1, but the damage is done. The round's going to be pretty easy for his team to win here. And again, even with no nade utility, nothing really preset or going on, DeeCee does a lot of good here. Obviously, you can tell he doesn't quite know where people are going to be standing most of the time, so his pre-aiming isn't great, but his reaction time, his ability to control the AK spray off the rip is actually not bad. So everything mechanically, I think DeeCee gets a passing grade, gets like a B or an A. Once you add on a little bit of utility and a little bit more game sense just from playing the game more, it's clear that DeeCee isn't going to struggle. He's going to do very well in the game. And as evidence, he's already climbed to 13k in Premier at the time of recording. So hopping in game here, let's talk about practical usage of nades when you don't know a whole lot of lineups. Because there's a lot more going on here than I think people would give credit for. Obviously, you should be learning lineups. That's what you should be doing before you play games. Dedicate some time every day. Go ahead, look up YouTube videos like on this channel, and you can learn stuff like this. Like here, you know, you come here, you smash into this bar, you look up at this post, aim on the post, jump throw, turn on our SV cheats. As you can see, TT smoke, it lands in front of the ticket booth, which you want to land in front of the ticket booth because then it's a lot harder for players to see over the top of it. But be wary though, people can still jump all the way up. You always gotta be wary of that. Anyway, that's a basic CT smoke. There you go. You can have that one for free. But let's say you don't know that, you're in DeeCee's position, you haven't even bought any nades, but you want to get into it. Nades, like the grenade, the flashbang, and the Molotov, can be used very simply and very practically without any lineups. So let's take a look at what DeeCee did that round. He ran out A main and entered straight to Tetris. So you want to enter straight to Tetris? Well, you can flash over the top. That's easy. I also like to throw this flashbang. Bounce off the wall, pops out front, and then boom. Now again, this comes with a little bit of time played and understanding where people like to send a Mirage. You can start throwing some pre-nades. People like to send triple, so I'm gonna grenade it. In this case, one thing that happened in this round, there was a smoke like right about here. When they came out Tetris, this signals to me there's somebody on site. Pull out your Molotov, molly outside. That's gonna, oh, well, you know, I mollied out correctly. You molly outside. That's gonna push the guy off this position. He has to fall back. That allows you to swing here and work on jungle and then swing the site. And then when DeeCee was here behind triple box, once again, he's fighting guys connector. So he can take out, take a peek. If he still has a grenade, you can just throw it over the top. Let's say he wants to flash this. Don't make this more complicated than it has to be. You know, you can just do like a little like this. Pops right in front of the boxes. You can take the peek. A flashbang doesn't always have to be a pop flash. And I think people forget about that. People are going to react to seeing the flash hit. So if I'm the connector guy and I see that flash, I'm turning. I see it, so I'm turning. If you swing in front of that, I'm turned away from you. You still have the advantage. That's what you should be thinking about with utility sometimes. You don't have to make it more complicated than it needs to be. And that's a great way to get used to throwing and using your utility, because far too many new players make the mistake of buying utility and then dying with it, or buying none at all. And you should just buy it and use it. Because even if you use it and you get nothing out of it, you're still learning more about using the utility to begin with. So you can imagine my shock then when the only round of the half that DeeCee buys grenades is the 9th round. Now listen, I'm excited, I'm pumped. DeeCee bought a Molotov, a smoke, a grenade. I can't wait to see what he does here. What genius, what light in the darkness, what fire will Prometheus bring to civilization as DeeCee opens up his Megamind and shows us what he can do with grenades in CS. Oh, he just instantly died in Palace. Well, you know, listen, clearly I was wrong. The takeaway here is never buy grenades, because DeeCee did remarkable in the T-side half not buying anything, and the one round he did buy grenades, he got banged out instantly. This just further proves my brother Justin's hypothesis that nades are in fact useless, and I'm very disappointed to see him be proven right. Moving on to our last round for this game here, we're going to start out with DeeCee going straight for just a regular AK buy, and then going for the fucking ego op. Let's see how it goes by, which I love and respect. He's going to take this op and head straight towards Palace. DeeCee favored Palace a lot in this game, and gives us a unique opportunity to talk about Palace, as it's one of the most interesting positions on Mirage, and one of the hardest to play correctly as the team. The round's going to start, he's going to be on the rollout here. He's going to hold because the enemy team have been pushing a lot Palace, which is just good adaptation by DeeCee. He's going to wait, hold his crosshair, and be rewarded for his patience, as he's going to get the nice op shot on the push. Now, his team is pushing A main fast, so DeeCee's getting ready to swing with the op, and yeah, that didn't exactly go to plan. Now, the problem here is that swinging Palace is very difficult because you need to do it in stages, especially with an op. So, we're going to go ahead and stop here. We're going to hop in game. We're going to talk about peeking Palace. Alright, first things first, we got to understand what is so difficult about pushing out Palace. And the first thing really is geometry. The field of view that you're dealing with from the Palace is very narrow. If we're just going to go here and stand, obviously this is a narrow field of view to spot jungle, stairs, the front of stairs, and of course, people don't realize this peak is so deadly on the box and connector. When you compare it to what the CTs are dealing with, they have a very wide angle to see you coming out of Palace. They have a lot of real estate to work with, especially an opera from jungle, to see you taking this peak. So you're often being revealed first before you have time to react on the peak, which means it's very important that you take some time and learn positions on the map, because you need to be pre-aiming like a motherfucker on Palace. It's very important that when you take this peek with the op, that you get ready, you jiggle it, you try and clear jungle, maybe pre-scope jungle a little bit. But it's important you take this peek fast and efficiently, because the jungle player is going to have the shot first because he's already holding the angle. So DeeCee he swung, didn't really clear jungle, went straight to look at stairs while leaving himself exposed here, and down here. But in reality, what was best for him to do there, while his teammates were pushing Tetris, was to take a staged peek. So take a second, jiggle it a little bit, clear jungle, jiggle a little more, clear the front, jiggle a little more, clear the stairs, jiggle a little more, clear sandwich, and then just take shots as needed, and then go for the big swingaroonie. That's the key to opting from Palace, is making sure that you take the most narrow 1v1 angles that you can to abuse the fact that you have an op that the enemy team may not. Alright, for our last round today, we're going to be jumping over to MnK, and guys, listen, it's the end of the video. I gotta do some glazing, I'm gonna do some tricks on it, I'm gonna dap up my boy DeeCee for the next few minutes, so if you find that kind of stuff hard to view, you can go ahead and exit now. Just make sure you leave a like, a comment, and a sub before you do. But DeeCee here, he top frags this game, he plays really well, and right here is a great clutch showing that DeeCee is going to be a great Counter-Strike player once he just gets a little more time under his belt, gets a little more familiar with the maps, learns some setups. DeeCee is going to do really well. That's because the basic stuff is there, his mechanical competence is there, and he has good, so far, awareness. So let's go ahead and play and see how he does here. So we're going to roll out towards the lobby. DeeCee here, once again, no nades. Does have the bomb though, so DeeCee is in control this round as far as the pace for his team. The first pick is going to go the CT's way with an op outside. That's not a great start. The rest of his team is outside. DeeCee is the lone anchor inside with the bomb. Not a good idea. DeeCee should not have the bomb right here, but that's fine. A little mistake, we'll let it slide. Another pick for the CT, so we're in a 3v5 now. Things are getting a little desperate. T's need to make a play here for some kind of map control, get a pick back, find something. The team now has outside control. One is in mini. DeeCee still in lobby. Oh my god. We get a team kill, another op kill, and then a refrag by DeeCee's teammate. We're now into a 2v3. DeeCee pushing out Hut here, ready to take the A site, clearing Mustang, good awareness. He's going to be looking kind of towards heaven, kind of towards silo. His teammate goes down to this op who's going insane. DeeCee going to take the swing here. The op hits the first 3 shots, is now going to miss all of them. DeeCee towards mini, gets the first pick. Op misses again. DeeCee, more bullets towards heaven. Another op mini. He's surrounded on all sides. What is he going to do? Falls back for the reload. Going to reposition towards Squeaky. Going to isolate the 1v1s. Knows where both of his opponents are here. What a great play. Going to open up the door. Take the swing on mini. Going to back him off with some shots. Lights him up. Another op miss. Gonna hold the angle, stand strong, DeeCee, stand proud. Does get the pick on the guy mini. Takes the swing heaven, more tags. Op has missed his 15th shot on DeeCee. DeeCee going for the fake plant. What a play. Jumps outside of DeeCee, spots him, finds him again. Is the op gonna drop? Yes, he does. DeeCee with the final pick. The 1v3 clutch. How many missed op shots? What a play from DeeCee, man. And frankly, it's just the beauty of Counter-Strike as a game. Like, yes, could I be nitpicky? DeeCee's position could have been better. He could have done things a little smoother. He could have had some better awareness of his crosshair placement, but none of that matters because DeeCee still made the right plays in the end, put himself in position to win the round, and then executed a beautiful clutch. And that's just what Counter-Strike is about, man. Very glad to review this VOD for him. I'm very glad my buddy's getting into it and enjoying Counter-Strike as much as I do. I would like to review more VODs that aren't me in the future. So if you guys enjoy this type of content, make sure you take a second, a like, a comment, a sub. Those tell me I should keep doing this. Thank you so much for the support lately. It's been incredible. Catch me live later tonight, twitch.tv/LionHeartZ1337 at 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Other than that, have a great day. I love you all. Peace.